Hi, Steve Patton here with HCM Property Management. So you watched our last video on how to prepare a security deposit disposition, making sure to one, not charge for normal wear and tear, to number two, not charge just random fix-free move-out expenses. Number three, only charging a reasonable amount for actual tenant-caused damages. And four, you got the disposition out within the 21-day California requirement. But you just received a dispute request from your tenant saying they want their full security deposit back and you've overcharged them for things that you shouldn't have. So what do? Number one, you take a breath. Don't be angry. After all, they might be right? We all make mistakes. We're human. So just take a breath. Don't get angry. And first thing you want to do after you've taken your breath is get from them in writing what it is that they are disputing and why they believe that it shouldn't get deducted from them. Okay. So after you've done that, you've taken a breath, you've gotten that back, do an honest assessment of what they're disputing, right? If you did make an error, just fess up to it. Say, I'm sorry, you're right. You did clean the carpet and I charge you for it. My error, and send them out their money promptly. Okay. Give them the refund. Give them also an updated security deposit disposition letter showing the corrections so both parties have that in writing. Okay. If you still think they owe the money because they did in fact cause the tenant damage, you now have to make a business decision, okay, on how you want to proceed. And you really got to think a little bit about what's your goal here, okay? Do you really want to go to war over a small amount of money, right? If it's a large amount of money, a few $1,000s, and you feel strongly about it, great. But if you're talking $100, $200, and they're disputing it, you really got to look at your goals and see, is it really worthwhile for me doing that, right? You can oftentimes, focus in on, I'm right and trying to win. There's no win here. It's just about looking at what's the right business solution for you. Okay. So do you have the time and energy to go to war with the tenant? Because of the availability of internet, a lot of times the residents are now internet lawyers and think they know everything about it. And a lot of times they're right. The facts are the facts. So you just got to know, is it worth really going to war over a small amount of money? Okay. So if you feel strongly about it and the tenant still disputes it, you want to send before and after pictures and try to have a reasonable conversation with the tenant of like, listen, this was the carpet before you moved in. There's a giant wine stain in the middle of the carpet after you left. That is not normal wear and tear. That's clearly a tenant caused damage. So hopefully you can reason with them with the before and after pictures and get them to understand that they've got to be responsible for those repairs. Okay. If the tenant's still being unreasonable, and again, a large amount of money, totally get it. But if it's a small amount of money, maybe you pick up the call, pick up the phone, talk to the tenant and say, listen, I know you think $200 is too much for this, but clearly this is a tenant caused damage and you're going to be responsible for it. So why don't we just settle it out? Why don't you pay, say, $150 and we'll call it a day? Try to reach some consensus with the tenant, okay? If you're unable to do that, the tenant is still just, in your view, being unreasonable about their position on damage, where they think really everything is wear and tear, then you have to make that decision. Is $200 worth going to war, potentially taking the time and money to go to small claims court and appear before a judge and say, these are the pictures before, these are the pictures after. Yes, you might win, but there's a chance you don't, because sometimes the judges are unreasonable as well and tend to side more realistically with the tenants in court. So you need to make that decision. Okay, so if it's a small amount of money and it's not worth your time, refund the money, and take on the next battle, move on with your life. If you feel strongly about it, it's a large amount of money. Again, make sure you've sent them the before and after pictures, have the conversation with them of clearly this is your responsibility. If they want to go to court and you feel strongly about it, then make sure you take your evidence with you to appear before the court and show them this is the before, this is the after. Here's the invoice and estimate I got from our vendor to repair it, and they owe this amount of money plus court costs. In a lot of cases, if it's very evident, you can win. If it's borderline, they're going to side on the side of the tenant. So just make sure that you've got everything together that you need. Hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully this doesn't happen to you too often if you've done a great job preparing the security deposit dispositions on the front end, but it does happen. So be prepared. If we can be of any help to you here at HCM, please feel to reach out to us at any time. Thanks for watching.